How's it going, everybody? Welcome to J Ray's DIY. I'm J Ray, and in this video there's going to be metal, there's going to be wood, there's going to be laughter and anger. Well, maybe. And I'm going to be turning this broken down swing into a swing that we can actually use, something that's functional in this video. If this sparks your interest, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. But let's get into the video. So we've got some wonderful neighbors that gave us this swing. They weren't using it anymore at their house, and they thought maybe we could get some enjoyment out of it. So unfortunately, we had an incident where we had a bunch of people over. Some of our daughter's friends all decided to pile on one end of the swing, and it ended up breaking. So I've got a solution that I think is going to help this to last for many, many years. Even if they pile on one side of it, it shouldn't break in the future. So if you're going to do this project on your own, you're going to need a welder, you're going to need something to cut metal with, you're going to need some screws and some wood and a drill bit so that you can make this all come together as a nice piece at the end. I've got this frame here that I've taken off the swing set in the backyard. I brought it into the garage here so I could work on it. And what it is, this is the actual bench. I've got it sitting on its side, and I'm going to be taking some angle iron from the top to the bottom on two places on each of the sections that fold. That way I'll end up with some wood slats here and some nice wood slats here to support the cushion when I'm done with this project, and hopefully it'll turn out nice. So I'm not sure if you've seen this tool or not, but it's pretty handy for taking odd shapes and tracing them out on a piece that you want to cut. So I'm going to use this tool, and I'm just going to start by just putting it on this pipe so I can get the shape of the pipe. Once I've got the shape of the pipe, I can lock this down in place. Now I can take this and I can trace the shape on the metal pieces that I'm going to be cutting. This way I have a nice contour so that when I weld this up, there won't be too many gaps around this pipe. It should be nice and smooth. So the next step that I'm going to do is take this tool and lay it on the end of one of the angle pieces. And I'm going to trace that curve on the angle piece. I'm going to do it on all four pieces so that I can get my starting point for my measurement to see how long this needs to be. So we'll get that curve around there and move to the next one. So got my plasma cutter out, I've got it hooked up, I've got the air hooked up to it, I've got the electrical hooked up to it, got my lead here, and I've got my ground on one of these bars here that we're going to go ahead and cut. If you use plasma cutter, make sure you're following safety procedures. Go ahead and wear your safety glasses, wear a pair of gloves. So I'm going to try to cut inside the line and make this cut out as clean as possible. I forgot to mention there, not only is it important to keep your hands safe, from also cutting through the metal makes it really hot, so you want to protect your hands from the heat as well. As you can see, basically it just melts the metal when you cut through with a plasma cutter. After cutting these pieces out with the plasma cutter, I like to take the grinder and clean it up just a little bit to give it a real nice surface to weld to. So I've got all my pieces cut. I've got the first one clamped here. What I did was use just a piece of plywood to get the spacing the same on both ends. That way I can clamp this bar in place and not have to worry about using that tape measure. I've got my welder out, got my welding helmet and my gloves. I'm going to get those on and I'm going to go ahead and tack this in place. I've got a couple tacks on each side. I'm going to go ahead and remove the clamps and then I can weld it out. And then after I get this done, then we can work on the next piece. It may not be the prettiest welds on here, but I'm a DIY guy. I'm not a welder for trade. So we're just going to grind these off a little bit. I think it was Jesse James who said that it doesn't matter how good of a welder you are. What matters is how good of a grinder you are. So that's going to be my next step. I'm going to grind up these welds a little bit just to clean them up. Now that I got the angle pieces welded up to the frame, I'm going to go ahead and cut some boards. I decided to use these cedar fence pickets. Pick them up at Lowe's. It's about the least expensive way to get some cedar boards for a project like this. Now I got all the pieces cut and I've got them laid out kind of way they're going to go. I use this board right here just as a spacer between them to try to keep the spacing the same between all the boards. Now I'm going to go ahead and use this wax pencil and go ahead and make a mark around the center of each board so I know where I need to drill a hole so I can put a screw in here and keep them in place. Now that I'm finished marking all the centers of these boards, I'm going to go ahead and take the boards off, set them to the side, and then start drilling holes so that I can run screws through into the boards. Well, as you can see, I got the swing back outside. We've got the frame painted on this, and I've got the boards sitting in place. They're not screwed in yet, so I need to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to be using these 1/2-inch screws, and I'm going to be running them from the back side through the angle iron that I put on here and into each board. I'm going to be using a spacer so I can get the boards evenly spaced going all the way across the swing set. So now we can sit on the swing and enjoy it just as it is, or with the cushion on it that came with it originally. Now that we got this swing fixed, that's all I've got for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe this will give you some ideas on how you can fix up some things at your house that maybe they've broken, but you can reuse them, or you can make them better possibly than what it was originally. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on future content coming from my channel. And I'm going to be turning a beautiful, not beautiful, but to do this kind of project you're going to need a welder, some screws, and some 1x. After you've cut these out with the plasma cutter, you might need to clean up the edges just a little bit with a grinder. Failure. I don't know if this ever happened. After I've cut these out with the plasma cutter, I like to clean it up with a die grinder. It's not a die grinder. That'll make it a little bit easier to weld. Little bit. Yeah, that makes sense. Little bit. I decided to go with these cedar picky.
The silver pick.
My tongue didn't want to move. And going in through the holes that I drilled in the